April 17th, 1906. San Francisco's Market Street thrums with life. Streetcars clang, shop owners haggle, and nearly 500,000 residents savor a city at its peak, never suspecting the ground beneath hides a secret. Buried beneath their feet, the relentless San Andreas Fault is already shifting, storing unimaginable energy. Scientists like Andrew Lawson are piecing together faint clues, unaware that every ordinary moment is borrowed time. The truth? San Francisco's biggest quake wasn't just possible. It was inevitable, written into the rock itself. But what turned this thriving metropolis into a landscape of ruin overnight? The answer reveals how normal life and looming catastrophe can coexist until the moment everything changes. By sunrise on April 17th, 1906, San Francisco was already wide awake. Market Street filled with the clang and rattle of streetcars running every few minutes, their benches packed with clerks, bankers, and laborers heading downtown. Tom Jackson, a conductor on the Powell line, greeted regulars by name, collecting nickels and keeping a sharp eye on the crowded platforms. In Chinatown, the day began before dawn. Laundrymen soaked linens in steaming vats, bakers stacked fresh buns, and alley markets buzzed as shopkeepers arranged crates of ginger and oranges. Crowds spilled from boarding houses and south of Market, hurrying toward rail yards and docks, while newsboys darted between wheels, waving the latest headlines. Beneath these streets, a web of water and gas mains pulsed with the city's energy, feeding homes, hotels, and the Grand Palace Hotel, where socialites planned for the evening's opera. More than 400,000 people moved through these routines, each certain the city's rhythm would never falter. As dusk settled, the city's pulse shifted. Gas lamps flickered to life along Market Street, drawing crowds towards the Opera House, where velvet gowns swept marble floors and laughter echoed in grand halls. In Delmonico's, waiters balanced silver trays, while diners lingered over oysters and champagne, their conversations drifting above the clatter. Not far away, a skating carnival spun late into the night, the air thick with music and anticipation. Yet beneath the cobblestones and polished lobbies, something else was stirring, something no one could see or feel. The Pacific Plate, locked in a silent contest with the North American Plate, inched northward at a pace too slow for any clock to catch. Andrew Lawson, a geologist at Berkeley, had spent years puzzling over strange landforms west of the city. His notebooks, filled with sketches of offset fences and twisted creek beds, hinted at a hidden boundary slicing through hills and farms. As the city drifted to sleep, the fault line waited, tension mounting in the darkness. At 5:12 a.m., the city's foundation snapped. In an instant, cobblestones bucked and Market Street twisted, rails curling like ribbons. The ground heaved with a force that reached Mercalli 11, extreme by any measure. South of Market, entire blocks lurched sideways, tenements pancaked as the soil below liquefied. On the waterfront, dock workers staggered as the piers groaned and splintered. The bay itself started to sway, gentle at first, then building into a slow, rolling seiche. Ferryboats rocked against their lines, water sloshing up over the pilings. Eyewitnesses clung to mooring posts, describing the sensation as if the entire harbor had turned to jelly. brick warehouses along the Embarcadero cracked open, sending crates tumbling into churning water. In Chinatown, narrow alleys pitched and rolled, lanterns crashing to the ground. For nearly a minute, the city was a single, trembling mass. Streets, buildings, and bay, all caught in the same relentless motion. Within minutes of the shaking, flames erupted across the city. Broken chimneys and toppled stoves sparked fires in kitchens, while gas mains, ruptured beneath the streets, sent jets of flame roaring through collapsed buildings. Firefighters rushed to their stations, only to find hydrants dry. The city's water mains had snapped underground, leaving crews with nothing but buckets and hope. As block after block caught fire, desperate officials ordered dynamite crews to blast fire breaks, hoping to halt the advance. But the explosions tore open more gas lines, igniting new infernos that leapt from roof to roof. By nightfall, a wall of fire marched through downtown, consuming banks, hotels, and entire neighborhoods. Families gathered what they could and fled toward the parks and shoreline, joining thousands camping in makeshift tents. The firestorm raged for 3 days, destroying nearly 80% of San Francisco. The city's lifelines, water, gas, and hope, had failed all at once. Splintered fences and offset roads stretched for miles along the San Andreas, confounding surveyors who tried to make sense of the twisted landscape. Andrew Lawson's team traced these scars, measuring a horizontal shift of nearly 6 meters, about 20 feet, where the ground had lurched in a single bound. Using triangulation markers set before the quake, they confirmed that entire parcels of land had moved overnight. H.F. Reed, analyzing the data, introduced the elastic rebound theory. The Earth's crust bends and strains until it snaps, releasing stored energy all at once. Modern GPS measurements still track this slow-motion buildup, proving that such ruptures are not random. They're built into the fault's design. City engineers rewrote the rules. The 1909 charter demanded steel skeletons for tall buildings and banned unreinforced masonry above 6 stories. Streets widened, alleys straightened, and landmark hotels like the Palace rose with fireproofed frames. Even old brick facades gained hidden steel bracing. On April 18, 1906, a magnitude 7.9 earthquake struck San Francisco, destroying more than 28,000 buildings and causing over 3,000 deaths. Official reports, like the Lawson Commission, confirmed that the rupture along the San Andreas Fault released decades of accumulated strain, an event geologists now describe as inevitable. While early scientists like Andrew Lawson and H.F. Reed mapped the fault and explained elastic rebound, questions remain about exactly how strain accumulates and when such ruptures will happen again. After the disaster, San Francisco passed new building ordinances in 1909, requiring steel frames and wider streets, measures still visible across the city today. Modern GPS data show the Pacific Plate continues to move up to 35 millimeters per year. The 1906 quake was not a random accident, but the natural result of relentless tectonic forces. Today, its lessons shape how San Francisco prepares for the future, reminding us that on this fault, the ground will move again.